Happy with it. All right. Good morning, everybody. We're talking about Piers Morgan versus Nick Fuentes this morning, and oh, yo, this one's gonna get spicy. It is.
Yeah, this one.
Nick's gonna say some stuff. Pierce is gonna say some stuff. Mario's gonna say some stuff, and I'm gonna say some stuff. And one of the things I'm gonna say, and we'll get into this, is I used to say, I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it anymore. I don't hate to say it anymore because not saying it has been killing us. How about it, Mario?
How about it? And a very happy birthday to Aaron Olson out there, BFM.
Yes, happy birthday, Aaron Olson. Happy birthday, right. Mario.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Fee. Yay.
And happy birthday to my lovely, lovely, hot young wife.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Now we got those.
She squirms and giggles when I say that, brother. When we're 90 and 85, she will still be my hot young wife.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So sure. Mario, set us up while I go heat up this coffee cup. I'll be right back, y'all.
Got it. I did want to mention you talked about your AI game from yesterday, okay? But I guess I can hold on to that for a minute, right?
Yeah, let's close up on that.
Mm-hmm. So what happened over, oh gosh, what was it? 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, right? There was an interview between Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes. Now, for those who don't know, Nick Fuentes has been basically, hopefully it's organic, okay, but has been making the rounds more and more lately on basically other podcasts, other streams, okay. He's been basically the guest celebre, all right, of the past 2 weeks. It started off on when he was interviewed by Tucker Carlson, okay, which created a firestorm of people demanding, the usual suspects demanding cancellations, here and there, demanding denunciations. Unfortunately, the Heritage Foundation came out correct in saying that they did not believe in censoring, okay, any individual on the conservative side, let alone Nick Fuentes, all right, but they cucked. Right. Whereas Tucker didn't cuck, but Tucker has also, in post-interview, where he was very friendly with the young Nick Fuentes, who's only 27 years old, right? Then essentially went to start, sniping at him behind his back after the interview, which is unfortunate. But as for this interview in question, what you had was for 2 hours a masterpiece of a display in generational divide. Okay, between Piers Morgan's generation, which would be like early Gen X, he's 60 years old, okay, and Nick Fuentes, who's 27, who is a Zoomer, okay. And they really didn't agree on much at all because they're operating under a completely different program, okay. Let's talk about some of the highlights of this interview. And I'm sure some of you guys have seen the clips, all right? And if you haven't, it's definitely worth taking a look on.
Well, before you do that, I just want to. So, doing show prep this morning, I simply typed in, Mario's up and wants to talk about Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes interview to ChatGPT, and the immediate response from ChatGPT. This just sets the whole thing up so nicely. Oh, please. Piers Morgan thought he was walking into a victory lap, and instead he ran headfirst into the exact blistering chaos he keeps pretending he can manage. Nick Fuentes is a grenade. Piers pulled the pin and then acted shocked when he lost a hand. That's the frame. Mario's going to have fun with this one. And then it went on later to say, Piers basically turned on a flamethrower in his own apartment and then blamed the furniture for catching fire.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, so Piers Morgan was supposed to be like the champion of the mainstream, okay? And I know Piers Morgan Uncensored, it's Censored is the name of his show, right? He kind of champions himself on not towing the line for normie conservative or the normie liberal shibboleths, right? And he's had some good good statements. Okay, he's come out strongly against transgenderism. Okay, but that's only after the left essentially abandoned
Yeah.
transgenderism. The
Well,
reason
and let's not
you don't
forget that
hear about that anymore because they gave up on it. They knew it was bad politics. Okay.
right, and before the lefties gave up on it and started to walk away from it, Pierce did speak on for transgender nonsense a bit early on. And then, real quick to your point, the show is in fact called Piers Morgan Uncensored. A good example to look back at and just the lie that is, I guess. He had Steven Crowder on with some black activists and basically on air dared Steven to use the N-word on air. And Crowder just straight dropped the N-bomb. It's like, there you go. Well, when they aired it, they censored Steven saying the word.
Correct.
And just overwrote that with the black activists screaming about how you can't let him say the word because that would be a personal attack on us. And of course, Crowder went on to defend it. He's like, no, it's not. Somebody demands I say the word, and then I say the word. That is literally just saying the word.
Yeah.
It hasn't been aimed or targeted at anybody, right? There are white people who use the N-word does not give you diabetes or make you fat. That's a ridiculous statement. It's a ridiculous claim, but it is in fact a claim that is made by those activists. Yeah. So you need that context for what the Piers Morgan show is to begin with.
Yeah, Piers has been getting he's been getting chased up a tree. Okay, the last 3 interviews he's done are the ones that were notable. That was one you said with Steven Crowder, where Steven Crowder's like, "I'm not going to obey your orthodoxy. Fuck it, I'll just say it." And then with Tucker Carlson after that, where Tucker Carlson's like, "Hey, you're in the UK. Isn't it illegal for you to use the word retard?" And he's like, "Piers, just say the word retard," right? Directly trapping him exactly as he tried to trap Crowder, right? Piers Morgan wouldn't say it, and the hot clip from the interview was Tucker Carlson saying retard. You can't say the R word, really? The R word. When did this become the R? I don't know. I missed the memo. Okay, from the speech police. I never realized that retard. Okay, is a forbidden word. All right, sorry. In fact, because of it, I'm going to use retard in the literal sense now. Okay, in my speech. If somebody shows up late, I'll ask them, "Oh, were you retarded?" Like, because it just means delayed. Okay, in Latin. All right, there you go. Etymology of the day from Mario Romano. All right, retard means delay in Latin. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So now to the interview in question here between Piers and Nicky Boy. All right. A lot of hot takes came out of this. The first one was Nick just openly admitting that yes, I'm racist. Okay, without apologizing. Okay, without having to couch the language. Okay, without having to immediately explain away what he said. Right, and Piers Morgan just like looked at him stunned. He's like, "You don't, but you were called the R. You were called the word." That means you have to like defend yourself. What are you doing? You can't do this. I called you the word. I have that gives you power over me? Oh, no, it doesn't. So Nick Fuentes basically just unashamedly said that, yeah, I'm racist, just like everybody else is racist. Okay. If I am walking down the street and I see a group of black males between the age of 15 and 45, okay, yeah, that raises my threat sensor. Okay, I am going to go around them or go away from them. Okay, if at all possible. I don't want none of it. I don't like going on public transportation. Okay, because I see the criminal or mentally insane black people around me. And Nick lives in Chicago. Okay, just on the outskirts of Chicago, right? And he's like, no, it's a nightmare. Okay, the South Side of Chicago is a gang infested nightmare. Okay, it is an unlivable space that essentially is in a state of anarchy, right? Yeah, I don't like black people as a whole, and I will avoid them whenever possible. Okay, which is, yeah, I feel the same way. That's how anybody with common sense feels, because unfortunately, there is statistically a danger around this particular group of people who have a very, very, very outsized influence on the crime statistics, okay, over any other group. Okay, simple. It's as simple as it's a simple fact, right? Um, but at the same time, he does basically what I do, whereas he does not engage in personal bigotry. Okay, just because I have a view. Okay, what I think about young black males as a whole. Okay, it doesn't mean that I treat every individual black person I meet rudely. Okay. I do not believe in personal bigotry. Right. And that is where Nick draws the line. Okay. He says that he has plenty of black people who watch his show, which I believe him. He's very popular amongst the younger generation. Okay. He is basically the anti Kirk. Okay. The Harvey Dent. He's like the Harvey Dent Charlie Kirk. Okay. For the younger generation. So it was refreshing to hear Nick come out and just say what everybody else is already thinking and has been saying for a decade now. Okay, since race relations completely collapsed under Barry Hussein Obama, right? And yeah, simple as.
And when you mentioned that Nick has black audience members, black fans, there are black groypers, for example. You can better explain what groypers are than I can, but over the last year or so, we've been seeing, off and on, the hashtag Black Fatigue trending, and a lot of those videos. I don't know if I could go so far as to say most, but a lot of those videos are younger and older blacks, right? So not really that kind of 35 to 50 age block. You're seeing like 60 plus and 30 below year old black men, and especially, but also some black women, but primarily black men who are in those, outside the key demo age blocks, coming on and saying, this is why racist exists. And then they'll show you a video on their, they'll do a TikTok stitch or whatever. And it'll be video of,
thank you, I'm live.
Three dozen angry black men and women just beating the crap out of each other in the street, right? A mostly black high school, and you've got a dozen or 2 dozen fat black teenagers ripping each other's wigs off. And these young black guys will come on with the hashtag Black Fatigue and say, you guys, you're the reason racists exist. You're the reason that, my property value is shitty or whatever. There is a noticing happening there.
Yeah, there has been for a long time. It's finally, Nick Fuentes is essentially that that driving force that is pushing it beyond containment levels. All right, they can no longer shut it down, if you will, because it's.
Aaron Olson mentions the Hodge twins. I love the Hodge twins,
and the Hodge twins. The Hodge twins have hosted Nick as well. Okay, so
yes, and that was an intense podcast.
That's right.
Dude, I've been in love with the Hodge twins ever since they went on Steven Crowder, and one of them said, "We put the coon in conservative," and Crowder said, "There's only one O in conservative," and the Hodge twin just comes back and says, "Yeah, but there's 2 of us." Damn.
It was indeed funny. Indeed funny. Okay. Sergeant Major says,
the funniest thing he ever said in his life.
Sergeant Major says there is evidence of a correlation that when white people use the N-word, it does cause obesity and diabetes. Yes, very much. It's like a Wonderful Life. Okay. Except it's every time a white person says the N-word, a black man's blood sugar crashes. Okay. That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay. Silent crisis.
Just go to Walmart and start screaming the N-word at the top of your lungs, and some brother said, "Oh, I got Sugarfoot. You give me Sugarfoot."
That's right. Get on the intercom for the entire store, right? And beforehand, like crack a blue pen, smear half your face with blue ink. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the other thing that Piers tries to do in this interview is he attempts to ignore per capita. Okay, when it comes to crime rates amongst white and black people. All right.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Um,
he's a liberal. That's what they do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but he's not stupid. Okay, he obviously understands, but he was attempting to equate like, well, don't you think it's dangerous to send your kids to an all-white school, considering that 99% of the school shooters, right, are white males? Okay, and Nick responds like, "What are you talking about? Like, okay, let's look at the rate of young white males who commit school shootings. Okay, which is an
.005%.
infinitesimally sub 1%. Okay, and then let's look at young black males who engage in violent crime. Okay, which is significantly higher than 1%. Okay, but Piers Morgan he was trying to ignore it and trying to he's very worm tongued. Okay, I'll give him some credit for trying to dance all right around the inconvenient and undeniable truth that Nick was telling him. Okay, but yeah, credit where it's due. The other key thing that the big stink. Okay, and the one that's of course going to call fire up fresh calls for Nick Fuentes to be banned or probably even killed. Okay, I
Hitler
wouldn't.
is cool. That one.
Um, kind of. Yeah, kind of. But it had more. It's more to do with the Holocaust. All right, and this is where this episode is going to get the banner underneath it. Okay, just the fact that I said that word means that there's going to be helpful information from YouTube under the video. Okay, but
Oh, we'll see.
talk
I
about
actually said the N word the day before yesterday when I was talking about the black stabber being acquitted because the guy he stabbed used the N word. I used the word on air.
yeah.
I just kind of let it slip. I said, you know what? If you stab me, I might just call you the N word.
That's
But
right.
I let it slide. And I just checked. I don't have any warnings or banners on that episode. They let me have one.
There you
So
go.
every time I've done it.
All right. Well done. Well done. BFM should be the place
You
where
missed it.
I did miss it. No, I did. Oh well. Shame on me. Okay. It's my it's my birthday. You can't be mean to me. Okay. Anyway, so they talk about how Nick Fuentes talks about how essentially
Mario lives in Florida, so I can't spank him.
don't get Tyler excited. He goes by Tyler these days. Jiggly Plum, is that it?
Yeah,
Is that
apparently.
Okay. So Nick Fuentes talks about how essentially the Holocaust has become a religion. Okay, it's basically a foundational myth now. All right, of of the West. Okay, in relation via the Jewish people. Right. The Holocaust is effectively a religion. It has its own blasphemy laws. Okay, it has its own rights that that the initiated must go through. Like there's a reason. There's a reason you have to watch Schindler's List in school. Okay, there's a reason you have. I mean, American education, as sad as it is. Okay, and you read articles about how people entering the workforce, okay, out of like high school, okay, or even out of junior colleges, and how they are barely functionally literate, right? Um, we're not educating our children anymore in our public school system. But one thing we certainly are educating them on is basically slavery and the Holocaust. Okay, if there's two things that you're going to learn in school in an American school, it's slavery and Holocaust. Right? Those are like the two pillars, the foundational creation myths of our American civilization. Okay. Um, and it's just unavoidable and people are getting sick of it. The issue is not like how many people died in the Holocaust. Okay, the issue is not whether or not this was a tragedy. All right, for the Jewish people. Like of course it was a disaster for them. Okay, the question at hand is how long how long do we have to essentially bow and show deference for events that occurred to someone else 80 years ago in Europe? Okay. 80 years ago, in 1945 is when the Holocaust ended, right? It's been 80 years and it is still used, okay, as an excuse why we can't organize, okay, or white people can't have in-group preference. White people can't have their own organizations that are explicitly pro-white, right? Why is that? In the end, the arguments against it always eventually come down to the Holocaust, okay? You white people are inherently evil, and if you are able to organize, all right, and achieve political power in as a homogenous group, ultimately it will result in it'll happen again. Okay, that is what we've been told pretty our entire lives. My generation for sure, and anyone younger than me, absolutely. And I don't. It's not fair. It is not fair. Like the Generation Z, okay, the Zoomers with Nick Fuentes as an avatar are coming out and saying it's not fair that we have to start life already, that we start our adult lives, okay? We start our teenage years into our young adulthood with this like yoke around our neck, okay, to control our speech, control our actions, okay, control what we believe. And we're not having it anymore, okay? I don't need to watch Schindler's List for the 1000th time, okay? I don't need to get it. I don't need to be re-educated, okay? We're not going to exist under that speech paradigm any longer. All right? And that's what it comes down to. They also talked about how white genocide or great replacement, okay, whatever you want to call it, how that is indeed real. And Nick outright just basically said to Piers that we're in a situation where barely half of the births in our country and in Piers's UK are white babies. And if this is allowed to continue, then your grandchildren are going to live as basically hated minorities in a state that is not Western, that is not American, that is not British, okay, but is in fact a Muslim country or Hindu country, okay, or what have you. All right, you will be an outright persecuted minority in your own land if nothing changes. And by change, I mean right now. Okay. Um, the famous whole Hitler is cool thing, all right, which left Piers Morgan absolutely flabbergasted. Okay, at that point in the interview, Piers Morgan, like the AI prompt said, he basically detonated a live grenade in his hand and was shocked that his hand is no longer there. Okay, um, and yeah, what it is he asked Nick, why would you say that? What about him is cool? And Nick said, well, it's all the edits. Okay, meaning the memes. Okay, the the amount of like mimetic material, okay, that is Third Reich related, that has been coming from the internet since at least 2015, all right, is astounding. All right, just go on TikTok or Instagram and look up like Hyperborean edit, okay, or like Fash Wave edit. There's a whole sub community of memes just surrounding World War II in general, okay.
Right.
And when you look at these memes, the reason people might think Hitler was cool, all right, especially the Generation Z, is because there is a truth revealed in all these memes that you see, right? And that there was a powerful national leader who had a definite authentic connection with his people, okay? And that it's not necessarily a desire for Hitler. It's a desire for a national leader that the people have a true like emotional connection to, okay? Like a father figure, okay, who loves you and cares for you, all right? That's what people want. That's what Generation Z wants, all right, in their government figures. And you know, in a lot of ways that's what leaves them very susceptible to socialism, all right? As election cycles move forward, you're going to see more and more socialism on the table, okay? And that's going to be a major challenge for the Uni Party to address. All right. Um, Next, they talked about how the sexual revolution has resulted in national destruction. Okay. We are a people in the West who are we live in a biological conflict. Okay, with nature. Right. We have told 3 generations of women that they are just like men, okay, and can do everything that men can do, right? Which is a lie, of course, a biological fact. And it's destroyed the natural union between man and woman to the point where we have a birth rate. all throughout the West, and not just the West. Okay, it's actually spread globally. It's a global phenomenon where we have we have below replacement level birth rates everywhere. Okay, and it's because the natural union between man and woman has been severed. And that's another, like, Gen Z's got it bad. Okay, every
Yeah, no
problem.
fault divorce. No fault
Yeah.
divorce was terrible for us, but it's got nothing
Yep.
on Tinder.
Yep. And you know, Generation Z is really, and I work with a lot of Generation Z. Okay, I've always worked with people who are usually younger than me. Okay, just by the nature of the jobs I did. And they have it real bad. All the problems that we had, as millennials, okay, or still have as millennials, they have all of that, Chris, just magnified. The problem is so much worse. Okay, affordability, as far affordability, okay. Don't let Elon Musk fool you. The affordability crisis is not a socialist construct. Okay, it's very real. Um, but yeah, just getting a start in life now, unless you come from a very privileged background, for Generation Z can be overwhelming to them. Okay, and I do feel for them, and there does need to be a national reform, um, holistic reforms in this country that can break us of the. Essentially, we are, like Ron Paul said, exactly like Ron Paul said, we are trapped in the belly of this terrible beast, and the beast is bleeding to death. Okay, we are trapped in a failed economic structure, and we're going down with the ship unless we patch the hull or grab the lifeboats, one or the other. But just standing here and letting it happen isn't working. We can't moving desks and moving chairs on the deck of the Titanic, right? Is what it seems like these days. Patrick Brown says majority of Gen Z will never own a home. Yes, which means that what do you think? What do you think happens to family formation, family creation when you can't own a home? It doesn't happen, right? It's a crisis. It is an existential crisis for the West that our our current political leaders, okay, past and current political leaders, are not addressing. So people after the interview
Well,
were like, "Well,
we don't have to worry too much about where the children will live, Mario, because we're not having any.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mario and I have done our patriotic duty. 6 daughters between us, and I've got my little battle as well. The numbers tell a terrible story on that front, and it is not that women are having fewer children. Women are still having the same number of children that women always tended to have. It is that fewer women are having children at all. So the women that are having children are still having between 2 and 5 children on average. So you're still seeing women getting married and having 2, 3, 4 kids, right? We've got 4 kids. Mario's got 3. Doing our patriotic duty, right? But dramatically fewer women are having children. And a lot of that is the whole feminist, you can do it all thing. Just, go ahead and build your boss babe career and then you can have a baby when you're 40. No, you can't.
No, you can't. Or are you going to have a kid that's basically got health problems? You want a sick baby? That's how you get a sick baby.
Well, I mean, a woman at 40, even if you do go ahead and gestate a healthy child, you didn't have a baby, sweetheart. You incubated an orphan. That's what you did.
Harsh.
Because you're not going to raise that child. You're not.
Yeah.
You built your boss bitch campaign until you were 40 years old. You're going to pop one out, spend 6 weeks with it, wean it from the tit before it can walk, and hand it off to a fucking nanny.
Yeah.
And never speak its name again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a possibility. So we might think that after, let me check the comments here. All right. If men and women are the same.
I did pull clips this morning, Mario. I do have a shitload of Fuentes and Morgan clips to show you guys. But let me Mario was just on a roll. Like I especially wanted to show this.
Yeah, go ahead.
The comment says, I'm in the UK and got arrested for watching this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got clips in no particular order. Okay, this is the one. This is
Go
the
ahead and
aftermath.
just go ahead and not the aftermath. Just play one of the clips, any clip. It doesn't matter. And while you're doing that, I'll say that after the interview,
Oh,
people
I'm
were
sorry,
saying,
I'm not sharing the correct clip. Go ahead, Mario. What were you saying?
I was saying that people are saying that after the interview, well, Piers Morgan, his career is done. Like he basically he has to resign in shame now. Like, no, not really, because Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes exist in different media ecosystems. Okay, um, and what we're seeing is a convergence of those two ecosystems, and it's not going well for the people who are prone to shutting it down. Okay, because this has reached the point. It all started. It all started with October 7th, 2023. October 7th, 2023, when the war kicked off between Israel and Gaza, Israel and Hamas, it set in motion a series of events that can no longer be contained. Okay, and that's where we are today. So go ahead with the clip.
Well, and before I play the clip, I'm not going to do this thing where we go through and every time Nick says something inflammatory, I'm like, okay, look, I don't totally agree with. Okay, no. We're gonna listen to what the two of them say to each other, and we're gonna talk about the argument they're having. No, I don't agree with Nick Fuentes on everything he says, and I certainly don't agree with Piers Morgan on everything he says. But let me be clear why we're even talking about these guys this morning to begin with. Maybe we should have opened with this a bit earlier. But the movement that follows Nick Fuentes is Gen Z. They're up and coming. They're a much smaller generation than any preceding them in living memory, but they are in fact going to be running for political offices in the not too distant future. And quite frankly, for a lot of you boomers out there, these are the kids that are going to be wiping your asses before you know it. And they are very fond of Nick Fuentes. He is a rising star for that age group. And so no matter what you think about what he says, you can't ignore it. He is speaking to a whole group of people who very much take what he says as being valuable and useful. And so it's definitely worth paying attention.
A prominent conservative in America has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Okay. And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah,
I mean, can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow up?
He murdered 12
million
childish. People. He murdered 12 million people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II and it's fascinating and it's interesting and it's compelling and it's cool.
A prominent
Yep.
And
that comes down to basically there's an 80-year separation between now and between then. Okay, like what does it people say? Like, is it too soon to joke about something, right? Like, how many years have to pass before you can make a joke about whatever, right? For example, like Columbine. You can make a joke about the Columbine shooters. Okay, I guess enough time has passed where you could make jokes about it, right? Well, I think it's just long overdue.
Speaking of Hitler and birthdays,
go ahead.
You brought up Columbine. Speaking of Hitler and birthdays, Columbine happened on Hitler's birthday, April 20th.
Oh yeah, that's right. They intentionally did it on 4/20. That's right. Yeah. Right. So, So Nick is Nick's an iconoclast. Okay. He's just smashing shibboleths of previous generations. Okay. And opening the airwaves to basically a more honest take on where we exist today as a society, and how events from 80 years ago are no longer need to be serve as constraints, okay, against what we say and what we believe. All right. And like I said, how the Holocaust has become our foundational myth. All right. It was two world wars, World War I and World War II, which basically destroyed the prevalent white primacy, okay, on planet. Okay. Prior to World War One, all right, World War I and World War II, white primacy was a thing. I wouldn't say white supremacy, okay, but the white man essentially controlled the planet. Okay, it's a fact. All right, and it was two self-destructive wars. Effectively ended that. It ended the age of the empires. Okay, it ended colonialism. Right, all of that retracted upon itself because the institutional weight could no longer be held by the political center. Okay, by the political core of countries that had effectively demoralized themselves through their own wicked self-destruction. Okay. So how do we cope with that? Okay. Well, the way that we cope with that, well, the decision that was made is that we were educated to look at that period in history as a great and noble sacrifice, okay, to stop tyranny, to stop totalitarianism, all right, and to save English common law and to save the Jewish people, okay. That's the way it was packaged for us, as why it was a good thing that white primacy collapsed on planet Earth. Okay, it was a sacrifice we had to make to basically save the Jews and save our democratic way of life. When what they mean by that is English common law. Okay, so what the Piers and Nick interview is showing is that that foundational myth is now collapsing. Okay. Generation Z no longer wants to be burdened by that historical guilt, and is outright rejecting it. All right, we're primed right now. We really are primed right now for a revolutionary event. It's just we're all waiting for that black swan event. All right, and I don't know. Is it a good thing that it's going to happen under Trump, or is it a bad thing that's going to happen under Trump? That's up for debate. Okay. Yeah.
Well, okay, I got one more clip, at least one more clip I want to watch.
I feel bad. I disagree with everything Sergeant Major's saying in the chat. I really do. I'm just... Anyway, go ahead.
Basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women. I am. All women are annoying. All women grow old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid. Basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur.
So, you know, this is a... I mean...
This is not uncommon for Generation Z, right? Like 66% of men basically report as effectively being incels. 66% of men of the next generation don't have sex.
Right. And bring the camera back up, Mark. So Fuentes, I had a longer clip from that. Fuentes basically talks about being a Catholic and saving himself for marriage, and Pierce is trying to shame him for being a virgin because he's Catholic, and says, like, I'm saving myself for marriage. That's
what are you, like the high school? Are you the high school jock bullying me? Like, what is this? What do you, what do you care? What do you...
I mean, okay. I had a few girlfriends. I was not a virgin when I got married. I'm not a Catholic, right? And the sex that I had before I was married was, sure, we had a good time, meaningless, valueless, right? Now, in fairness, when we talk about Gen Z being a generation of near celibacy, that is less about a religious conviction or making a moral choice than it is about basically constant dopamine addiction and dopamine poisoning, coupled with the fallout from the Me Too movement. Younger men are afraid to have a conversation with women because it's, you can walk up and say, hey, you want to get a cup of coffee sometime, and find yourself in prison for the rest of your life because you raped her without ever even buying a cup of coffee and getting her to the house and trying to make the move. Right? It is an absolute disaster area out there for young men who are trying to date. We've got a friend of the show that has already said he wants to come on and do a show about the dating scene in modernity, which I can only talk about from reporting and statistics. But I've been married for almost 20 years. So I'm not the one for that. I can have the conversation with somebody about it. We got somebody.
Who is this guest?
Huh?
Who is this guest?
I'm not going to say yet.
Oh,
we'll keep that one on the back burner. But know,
is it Cameron?
No.
Cameron's
No.
dating life. Cameron's dating life is like a stack of honey buns and a microwave. Okay, like say no more. I'm not going to get too graphic on you. Yeah, Jigglypuff. Yeah, go ahead. Excuse yourself. It's okay. I know.
But yeah, more importantly here, Pierce is trying to shame this guy for making the responsible choice to not engage in sexual congress before marriage, and the statistics on this are undeniable. The more partners you have, the less likely you are, the less capable you are of forming a long-term, loving, substantial monogamous relationship.
It's called pair bonding. Okay. And yes, the more of yourself you casually expend, okay, the less of it you'll be able to consolidate with an individual that you do love, okay, or that you should be in love with, okay. I had, for example, you talked about your dating prior to marriage, okay. For me, it was there was actually one girl that I truly loved, and we were monogamous with each other for like 4 years, okay. The problem is I'm 22. I'm poor. I want to marry you, but I'm poor. I work at Walmart. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? And there's been I understand that the naivete of that thinking, okay, at the time, or in retrospect, okay, I understand that there are ways, but I felt kind of economically powerless. And eventually our relationship fell apart. If you're doing the deed with a girl for a long enough time and her body's not having babies, her mind makes her leave you. Okay, that's female psychology. All right, it means that you're in from a lizard brain. Okay, from a female brain stem perspective.
That's not even psychology. That's neurophysiology.
Exactly. I just didn't know that word. Correct. But that's what I was describing. So, yeah,
that's a straight up neurochemical response. Pure neurophysiology. So
I do need to leave shortly. I got to go pick up my truck from the mechanic. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
but
on that note, I've got a present for Mario for his birthday. A little something I put together while he was running his mouth about Nick Fuentes. So, once again, Mario, happy birthday, brother.
Oh, please. You know what day it is.
Hey, everybody, it's my birthday. Wait, what did I do?
Mario, you know the rules.
No.
Birthdays mean accountability.
I refuse to acknowledge your authority.
Justice
scale.
Delivered.
Next year, I'm switching teams.
Too late. Your family, kid.
Man. I don't know what the hell that was.
Rapid fire AI schlock.
Is that an AI first take? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Where it's basically like a Jiggly Plum fan fiction. Okay. And at some point there, you morphed into Maui. Okay, from Moana or something. I don't know.
I was a straight Maori for a moment there. I was like, "Hey, Brew, it's your birthday, Brew."
But Sergeant Major, actually, no, Sergeant Major, thank you. Sergeant, I don't disagree with everything Sergeant Major says. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. This has caused more separation, all right, amongst people, all right, of our generation and younger. Okay, it's caused more distancing. The more ready and rapid communication we seem to have in our hands, the less capable we are of forming meaningful relationships with the people around us. Okay, it's quite the paradox, and a great topic for maybe another show. But what I did want to leave you with here was something about when I talked about prior to World War One. Okay, that white primacy that existed on this planet, and comes down. It's the white man's burden. Okay, the white man's burden was born from a position of impossible strength. All right, when we ruled the waves, ruled the ruled the seas, ruled international travel, ruled international education, like everything. When civilization itself was exclusively our possession to be shared with the rest of the world. Okay, born from a position of impossible strength. All right, and now that that strength is gone. Okay, now that we are 8% of the global population. Okay, yeah, understand that we are the minority. We are the minority. Understand that. Any white person listening to me right now, understand that you are the outright global minority. Okay, and our lives matter too, and we have a right to self determination. Okay, so now that that strength is gone from the white man's burden, then our new white man's burden is basically reclaiming our own people. Okay, we need to be less focused on overseas adventurism. Okay, we need to outright reject the neocon philosophy. Okay, or the neocon worldview, and our focus needs to be healing internally, because there's a lot of damage to heal since we opened the gates to hell in circa 1965. Okay, so
Yep.
that's where, and that's why I still think Christ matters. Okay, so this Christmas season, because how are we to redeem our people? How are we to redeem a people who are so backwards, so awash in sin, so awash in sins that they didn't even understand were sin, that they don't even have a concept of what is and is not moral? Okay, how do we do that? Well, something bigger, something transcendent, something bigger than us. Okay, so try to keep that in mind this Christmas season. So anyway,
it's not okay to hate yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know, Timonian. It's a little more complicated than that. Anyway, that's all I have for this morning. And,
all right, brother. Well, once again, happy birthday, Mario, and happy birthday to Aaron. I already kissed my wife and told her happy birthday this morning. Y'all be safe out there. Thanks for watching today. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Ciao. That was a good one. That one should get some traction.
Yeah, I think it cost me $4 to make that video for you.
I need